Hello, everybody. We're here with what's really unprecedented news in the history of the NBA. Solemn, scary. It's hard to digest right now. The league, the NBA, has been put on hiatus. It's on indefinite suspension following the news that the preliminary tests of Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz, he's been tested positive for COVID-19, as we know, the coronavirus. And again, this is very recent news. The Utah Jazz and the Oklahoma City Thunder, they were nearing tip-off. They were minutes away from tip-off, and the doctors ran out when the news was received, sent them all. They're currently in quarantine, and sent all the fans away. And indefinitely now moving forward, the NBA is shut down until, I guess, this. And I mean, there's a few thoughts. There are plenty of thoughts racing through my head right now. The primary thing is, I assume the majority of the audience that listens to this podcast is probably in the middle-aged age range, right? So it's pretty easy to dismiss something like this. Now, we have today, it just became a pandemic, right? Everybody's senses are obviously heightened now, just with the news, right? That's a much scarier word to use. But I think until this point, I'd say we've been kept at arm's length from this disease, right? Especially being in North America. I know we have a few European, Australian audience listeners, but for the most part, it's been pretty arm's length. But now, right, what I think that the impact of this news brings is not only that, one, right, anybody can be affected by this, right? Even NBA players who have the best medical staffs and a lot of money, everything, right? When you're exposed to this pandemic that's being spread at such a rapid pace, nobody is safe for the most part. And I'm not trying to sound like too panicky, but the sad reality, or the unfortunate reality, is that right now Rudy Gobert has tested positive. It takes about 4 to 5 days in order for you to even notice the symptoms. So 2 days ago, if you'll remember, the Utah Jazz played the Toronto Raptors. So I don't want to, knock on wood, but likely, right, you have a lot of sweat. It's transmitted from touching the face, touching the eyes. When players are sweaty, of course, they're rubbing the sweat off of their face. So there's going to be some serious concerns and lockdowns now for the rest of the Utah Jazz team. Of course, the Toronto Raptors, who've just recently played, like I said, 2 days ago against the Utah Jazz. And there could be countless other NBA players now that have been exposed to this, let alone the players, but also the fans. And I think that this brings us to the more overarching issue that this affects, and I think Mark Cuban said it really well, it affects families, right? This is bigger than NBA basketball right now. And it's just, we want to ensure that the maximum amount of people can remain safe during these times. So it's unfortunate that it's come to a point where, we were leaning towards the direction, and rumors were circulating for a while that the NBA might test playing games without fans. And then as we approach today, Adam Silver did announce that by tomorrow they were going to likely begin to play games without NBA fans. And now, of course, with this news, it would just be unsafe for the athletes and unsafe for everybody in the arenas, and especially given the size of these gatherings, that now there's a confirmed case from this major sports league, they're shutting it down indefinitely. NHL, they've released a post as well that they see what the NBA has done, and they're likely to respond tomorrow in a similar manner, I imagine. But I just want to provide reassurance to our fans. We are going to continue to make podcasts. We're going to try to talk as much basketball as possible because, as things wind down, I think we're going to see a lot of people, the quarantines might ramp up. School, work, we're going to see a lot of things pulled back, especially those jobs, those vocations, those activities where you're in high clusters or groups of people, right, where you're exposed to a lot of people. So I think a lot of that is going to become virtual, and people are going to be in the house. So, it's disappointing time, but again, I think safety is 100% the top priority right now. So we just need to, hope that everybody is all right. Try to protect ourselves, try to protect our families. Try not to go out and put yourself in situations where you're putting others in danger or infecting others. And while this happens, we're going to be inside more. And this is, everybody that listens, and Ben and I included, our passion is basketball and is the NBA. So while we go through this time where there's not going to be actual games to watch, we are going to try to keep producing that content. It'll get a little creative. It'll get a little weird. I'm not going to lie to you guys there. It's going to get a little funky for the time being, and we're going to listen to you guys and try to make some stuff that, we can keep the NBA gears churning while, we have this bit of a lockout, I guess, so to say, from the NBA. But it's a tough pill to swallow right now. But again, I think it's the right precautionary measure to take. I think everybody would agree that it's just not worth it to put people in danger, given the gravity of what we're facing right now in terms of this disease, the rapidity, how rapid it's spreading, how many countries it's affected, and how there's just so much unknown about it still. So we see a lot of things happening. Of course, the U.S., they've just responded by blocking all, I believe, European countries from entering the country for the next 30 days. Canada, we've just released, I believe, a $1 billion some sort of project. I've just been flooded with news updates of everything that's happening now, and even famous people. Tom Hanks, he's tested positive now for coronavirus in Australia. So it's terrible what's happening. And if you have anybody personally in your family or anybody that friends or anyone, thoughts and prayers out to them, certainly. This is a tough time, and we need to stay together by staying apart, keeping distance, and that's it. So just wanted to get this out there, maybe shed some light from a Toronto Raptors perspective. Like I said, we did just play the Utah Jazz 2 days ago, and it takes 4 or 5 days, I recently read, in order for the symptoms to become apparent. So it is very likely, again, no medical expert here, but it is very likely that he likely had the contagion, Rudy Gobert, during the time that they were playing the Toronto Raptors. So we're certainly going to stay tuned for that, and Ben and I will release a full video as soon as possible, either tomorrow night or the next night, and sort of lay out what our plans are now for the next however long this takes until, I can't even hypothesize. So anyways, everyone stay safe. Thanks for listening, and prayers out to everyone.